Hi, mamas. Put the kids to bed. It's mama time. And I've been avoiding this topic for a while, but I know I had to discuss. And that is my miscarriage that happened in December 2021. I actually miscarried on Christmas Day, but I knew leading up to that time that um, I wasn't going to be pregnant for much longer. I just didn't know what day it was going to happen. And it so happened to happen on Christmas Day. So let's um, let's get into it. So it really started my journey of getting pregnant again. And at this point, it would have been for the third time. Started in May of 2020 after my son turned two. Oh wow, yeah. After my son turned two, me and my husband knew that we wanted to have more children. And even though I really was depressed, I was going through so much, and that's a whole nother story for another day. I knew that I had to, I ballooned up to like 210 pounds. I didn't feel like myself, but I knew, particularly for how old I was, and if I wanted to have a child in the next couple of years, that I had to do all that I can to get my weight down, not only for myself, but for the health of the baby, to get my weight down, to exercise more, to really focus on my nutrition so that we could put in the final embryo. Let me take a step back when I meant final embryo. So in 2015, I went through a first round of IVF. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that, but we ended up at the end of that cycle having, I believe, five or six, I believe five embryos. November 2015, we did a fresh embryo transfer. It did not take. Then in February 2016, we put in two, and one took, which was KJ, and he was born prematurely during my 22nd week, 7 day. Well, excuse me, he was born 23 weeks one day, and then he died 7 days later. Well, my husband and I were visiting NICU. That's a whole nother story for another day. And that was 2016. And then in August of 2017, we put the fourth embryo, only one embryo in, and that results in Kai. And Kai is 4, he will be 5 in May. And so that left us with one embryo left. And again, these embryos are with my 32, 33, I never get the year right, but with my before advanced maternal age eggs. Follow me. because because even though I was getting older, my body was getting older, my embryos were from my younger eggs. And younger tends to be, I mean, more times than not, in general, tends to be healthier. Not to say that at 38 I can't have healthy embryos, but generally, the older that you get, your embryos kind of fall down, not fall down, your egg quality decreases the older that you get. So, um, at the okay, so when I put the embryo in, I was 38. I'm so bad at math. And let me take a step back. So 2015 is when I got through one round of IVF. I was able to have 5 viable embryos from that one round of IVF. Gone through three, gone through 4 transfers, had 1 embryo left. Wait, sorry, gone through November, March, August. Gone through 3 transfers, my bad. Had 1 embryo left. And again, back in 2015, I had insurance that covered IVF. So even though we did have out-of-pocket costs, all in all, I believe we were like maybe $5,000 out of pocket, including the medication total. And I knew, like, we were just banking on this embryo to be the last shot because I knew currently my husband insurance and my insurance would not cover IVF. And out of pocket, the range is from 12 to 18,000, including medication. If you do not have insurance, just out of pocket for one round. And again, because my background in public health, because I just understood the statistics and how it drastically changes, particularly when you get in your 40s. I just knew how the numbers were. So I was really banking that this would be it. Like, we put in the last embryo, and um, and then we get our baby, we have our family, Kai has a sibling, we're done. So, okay. So we, in terms of to get ready for IVF, they gotta check your uterus and make sure that it's a safe environment for the embryo to grow and be implanted. And that is a procedure that I'll get into another day. And, you got to do blood work again. And they got to measure your cervix to your uterus to find out how long the catheter needs to be to implant and all that good stuff, all that good jazz. And before then, you have to take medication to prep your body to have your endometrial lining thick enough so that the baby can stick. All these different things that you have to do. Okay, here we go. So in December, we did it. We went through the transfer early, I think, yeah, right after Thanksgiving. And then I don't know if you've seen other videos, but they talk about the 2-week wait. Well, really, it's approximately 10 days, but we can say 2-week wait. And I got a positive pregnancy test. So elated. Oh, take a step back. For the embryos are graded. So it's like 5 is the top, and I'm going to research exactly what the numbers are. I'm just trying to get through this, but it's 5 is like the most cells, or the best number. It goes from 5 to 1, and then it's like AA, AB, AC, and I think that's it. And it goes BB through C, and then I really don't think they consider D's. So I believe this embryo, because all the embryos are graded, but this was the last one to implant. And typically they put the better grades first so you can get the best chance, and then the not so good grades, like, I'd hate to say this, but like the D and E graded embryos to the end. And so, I was very optimistic because, look, we are batting around 66%, 2 out of 3 was implanted and grew. So, actually, sorry, let me not say that because the first one didn't even implant. We were batting up, well, I don't know if it's 100, but anyway, we were 100% for all the embryos that implanted, and I got a positive pregnancy test. They stayed past the first trimester, I will say, going into the second trimester. So I thought that when after the 2-week wait, and I never wait for the blood test, I always go, well, not always, but since KJ, I would just do a home pregnancy test and kind of know the results before they told me. But no, KJ, I didn't know. For Kai, I did. I did do a pregnancy test beforehand. So, did a pregnancy test, was positive. Super happy, so excited. Pregnancy test, positive pregnancy test. And then, of course, we did the beta HCG test, and that came positive. So happy. So I was like, yes, I don't have to worry about spending no more money. We have this baby. It is going to be, that's it. Our family's done. No more extra money out the pocket than need to be. And so when you get the first positive pregnancy test, then in the clinic we were at, you do it every 2 days just to make sure that the HCG was going up, that level was continuing to rise. So I went back 2 days later, and it rose, but it didn't rise as much as they wanted to because it was supposed to like double or triple or whatever. It came in again. And it didn't rise. It went down. Oh my goodness. And then came in the following day and it was plummeting. And I think it was December 14th or 15th. And mind you, so when you get the before you get the positive pregnancy test, at that time I only took progesterone, which is like an intramuscular horse needle. If I still have the needle, I'm gonna show it next time. Thick needle in the butt. You can put it in the thigh. I put it in the thigh once when Katya wasn't available to do so. I will never do that again. I was like, yeah, and no. I was no, in the butt, cheeks for the shot. So, but let me take a step back. I didn't do intramuscular. I did intravaginal. So I didn't go through that pain for this round. So I didn't have that pain. It was just very messy. I'm not getting into that. So I was doing that. And when I got that call, I remember we were in a work retreat. And she called and I stepped out. And she said that your baby is not growing. Whoo! I just bawled I cried so much. It took me back to when the doctor told me in the NICU that he's sorry. And I just fell out in the NICU, rolled on the ground. But it just took me back to that pain. And I can't believe I'm saying this and I'm not crying. But it took me back to that pain. Oh my gosh. Ooh, it was because you don't understand, for me, who struggled with being able to have children And I'm not, my heart goes out to everyone that's had a miscarriage. But I just knew that it was 10 times gut punching because we don't get pregnant by conventional means. And then I I was so sad. I was so sad. I don't even really know how I was able to function at work, to be honest, because that was my final hope. I was like, well, Kai will be an only child. That's and that's okay. But I was still grieving because that was just a gut punch, a gut punch. I cried because I really wanted that baby. I really wanted that baby so bad, so bad, so bad. And it was like a close to a chapter. You know what I mean? And I was just in a fog. I was like, there was conflict at work at the time, and I just kind of tuned out. I just holiday time, I don't even everything was really kind of like in a daze. And then okay, what happened? Like what happened? Why the baby stopped growing? Sometimes so what they say, and I know this, and I know people feel that doctors are just so by the book and this and that and da 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 da. But I understood that typically, if babies don't make it past, particularly before 12 weeks, there's like a genetic defect or mutation or something wrong, like the evolutionary process, like only the strongest survive, like only the fittest survive. So I knew that, I understood that, and I'm not negating that, but it still hurts. And um and I was like asking when I was speaking to the nurse, I was like, so like was I she's like, technically you were pregnant because embryo implanted was growing, but it being around 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or whatever is considered a chemical pregnancy. Like you're technically pregnant, but um, the baby just never grew, you know? It's just one of those things that you can't really explain for. And so I just had to sit with it. And then I'm like, and she was, and then she's like, you can stop taking the progesterone. There's no need for you to continue. I'm just like, and we still had more left, and it was just, oh my goodness. Anywho, yeah. So, so I'm just like, well, what's going to happen? She's like, you're going to have a, well, it's not going to be a period, but you're going to miscarry. Like whatever cells that was growing is going to come out. You just don't know when. And so on Christmas Day, 2021, I started my period, and it smelled like death leaving my body. I'm just going to put it like that. It smelled like death leaving a, a corpse leaving my body. Sorry, I hate to be so graphic, but that's what it really felt like. While I rub this growing belly. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. But I remember going to my brother's house. It's a 2-story. People were just, I didn't want to talk to them. I was just drinking wine and trying to fall asleep. Just drinking wine. It was the worst day. And the crazy and the crazy thing, the day that I found out that the baby wasn't gonna grow, I think my brother-in-law came into town. I couldn't even I couldn't even I couldn't even I could not say anything. I think my husband told him. I believe my husband told him, but I was just weepy. Weepy. Woo! Anywho, I'm so surprised. You know what? I be crying at moments that I don't think I will cry. And then sometimes when I think I'll cry, I don't cry. But I don't cry. Or, I mean, sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry. But I'm not crying now because I am pregnant again. And we won't get into that because I had no hope. I had no faith. I'm gonna be honest. I gave up. I was like, just grieving the process of not being able to have a child again. That was me. But yeah, Christmas Day was, ooh, it was hard. It was hard. It was hard because it was just a steady flow, and it was just a reminder of what. And let me tell you, when I found out I was pregnant, when she gave me that positive pregnancy test, I was so jubilant. I was so happy. Oh my goodness. And then this is like the gut punch. And then better if she were to, well, let me not say that. Because then in my head, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with my body? But it was just like, I was up and then I just came all the way down, all the way down. Crazy. Um, but yeah, that was, I just, and I was like, oh, I said, I had a baby die and I have a miscarriage. Like, what is going? And I do understand that miscarriages are common, and they happen way often than women discuss. But yeah, because I remember, I believe in Beyonce, the 20. Oh my gosh, it's 10-year, almost 10-year anniversaries from Beyonce's album. But I do, like, in her interview, she talked about going through a miscarriage before she had Blue. And I understand it's just something. And I know a couple ladies I know had a miscarriage, and it's just something that we just don't talk about. um I don't know if it was a shame when KJ died. I did feel some shame because I knew something was wrong with me leading up to me going into preterm labor. With this miscarriage, I didn't necessarily felt shame. I felt I was just disappointed. I was so disappointed. It was like last hope, gone, gone, gone. This was the final chapter to what started in 2015. A 7-year journey ending on this note. And then it's like, oh my, now what? Pay $12,000 out of pocket at 39 years. My mind went everywhere because I'm very much a realist. I'm not like, oh, everything's gonna end up well, everything's gonna be fine and great and peachy keen, because I just know the reality of life is sometimes things don't end well. Sometimes we get disappointed. Um and maybe that's why I wait last minute, is particularly being pregnant now to girl, I don't even know if I'm going to do maternity pics, have even started on the list. And honestly, less than 3 months, this baby's coming out. So, but anywho, we're not talking about that. We were talking about miscarriage and my experience with going through miscarriage. But that experience, especially the things that happen afterward, like in your lowest point, and I'm sorry if I'm being preachy, but I will say in your lowest point, God is still there, even if he doesn't feel there, even if it doesn't feel that way, he is still present. And that's what I learned from this experience, that he was still present, even though it was like, God, we not cool right now, you know? Um, so yeah, so, oh my goodness, mention God and babies leaping all up in the stomach. So yes, that is my experience, Christmas 2021, going through a miscarriage, having a failed, well, no, let me not say it, because I did implant. Like, I got to be clear on the terms. It was a successful implantation. The embryo did plant, but it just did not stay. So that is the story of the one, two, three, four fourth embryo transfer. Did get implanted, but eventually I miscarried before 7th week. So for the women that has gone through it, whether you miscarried with IVF, without IVF, you're in my thoughts and prayers. It is not easy. It will never be easy. A lot of people do not understand. And I get it. I'm here with you. So if you have an experience that you don't mind sharing, or have gone through something, you know, infant loss of any type, whether it's infant death, stillborn, miscarriage, and if you feel like sharing, share. And if not, that's absolutely okay. I'm here for you, and I'm here to speak about my experience, because hopefully it will let you know that you're not alone, and also could shed light and help someone in need. So that is it. This is Coco with Africa Pop Mommy, Health and Fitness. A lot more active baby this evening, but a lot more stories, a lot for information, a lot more support in store. And I'll talk to you all later. Take care, Mama.